Good afternoon and welcome to the November 18th, 2025 meeting of the Georgetown County Council. Please note for the record that Councilman Anderson is not present, but we still do have a quorum present. Please take this time to silence your cell phones so that we can all be present for the information to be presented to us. Please join us as Councilor Bishop Cooper leads us in the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering, allowing us to come together to serve the people of our county. Grant us the wisdom and clarity as we discuss the matters before us. Help us to set aside personal interest and work together for the common good, seeking justice, peace, and prosperity for all in our community. Guide us through our words and our thoughts and our action, that we may lead with humility and integrity. Bless our deliberation and help us in our decision-making, that we would honor you and benefit those that we represent. Keep us mindful of those who are vulnerable and in need, and inspire us to serve wholeheartedly. We ask for your protection and grant us through this meeting tonight. May all that we do bring glory to your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Move down to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion on the floor to approve the agenda as published?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Charlton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Morant. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, the agenda is approved. Move down to special reports. Tonight's nonprofit spotlight is the St. Francis Animal Center. Georgetown County and the Francis P. Burnell Foundation are partnering to spotlight a local nonprofit. This week's featured nonprofit is the St. Francis Animal Center. Miss Mindy Tyner, the new executive director, will give us a presentation. Ms. Tyner, you have the floor.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about the St. Francis Animal Center. Before I begin, I want to express our sincere gratitude to the Council for the recent emergency funding support. Your recognition of both the rising costs and the consistently high volume of animals entering our shelter means a great deal to us. This support directly impacts our ability to provide appropriate, compassionate care for every animal who comes through our doors, and we are truly grateful for your partnership in this work. Next slide. Although our name has changed a few times over the years, our mission has not. St. Francis Animal Center has been serving this community in our current location since 1986. For decades, we have been the place where the community's most vulnerable animals find safety, care, and compassion. Next slide. We are an open admission shelter, meaning we do not turn animals away. Every dog and cat brought to us has a place, regardless of age, size, breed, medical challenges, or behavior concerns. In addition to our shelter, we operate the Cotton Memorial Veterinary Clinic, which provides low-cost veterinary services for the public, as well as essential medical care for every animal who enters our doors. Through this clinic, we offer spay and neuter surgeries, vaccinations, microchipping, diagnostic testing, heartworm treatment, parasite prevention, lab work, x-rays, and more. And through programs like our pet food pantry, we help keep pets in their home by easing the financial burden for families who simply need a little extra help. Each year, thousands of animals and people in Georgetown County rely on us. As a 501c3 nonprofit, our ability to show up for them depends entirely on the generosity of donors, supporters, and community partners, people like you. Next slide. One of the things truly differentiating St. Francis Animal Center from other area shelters is the fact that we are open admission. Many shelters operate with a managed intake model, which allows them to choose which animals they bring in and which they decline. Because of our municipal partnerships, we don't have that luxury and know that if not for us, countless animals would have no options. So far in 2025, nearly 90% of the animals in our care have come to us through animal control or law enforcement. Next slide. These animals often arrive with significant challenges. Over 60% of the dogs that come through our doors are heartworm positive. 58% are large breed dogs. More than 10% are seniors. Many are blocky-headed breeds or hounds, which means there's very little variety in our shelter population. And often animals arrive with behavioral concerns stemming from neglect, trauma, or lack of socialization. Meanwhile, examination of available dogs at a nearby managed intake shelter showed only 9% of their dogs were large and only 3% were seniors. That comparison matters because it shows how dramatically different our populations are and how much harder our placement efforts become as a result. Next slide. At the end of August, we began a comprehensive assessment of our operations, our population, and our policies to ensure we were meeting the highest standard of humane care. As a result, we instituted weekly intervention meetings where staff, including our veterinarian and leadership, review every animal in our care, looking at medical needs, behavioral progress, and overall quality of life. These meetings are grounded in the internationally accepted 5 freedoms of animal welfare. Those freedoms are freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, or disease, freedom to express normal behavior, and freedom from fear and distress. These 5 freedoms now guide every conversation we have about our animals. They are our compass. Next slide. In August, we had an average of 184 dogs and 63 cats in our care. By October, those numbers dropped to 152 dogs and 47 cats, and through mid-November, we are at 135 dogs and 58 cats. Factoring in animals in foster care, our on-site population has improved dramatically, moving from operating at 256% capacity for dogs in July to 161% in November. Overall, taking both dogs and cats into consideration, we've gone from operating at 195% capacity down to 122%. While some of these decreases may be due to seasonal variations, much of this progress didn't happen accidentally. It took direct, concerted effort. Next slide. We refocused our efforts on transport partnerships, both locally and across state lines, sending animals to communities that do not face the same overpopulation issues we do in Georgetown County. We also increased community outreach, showcasing our dogs and cats in ways that improved their chances of being adopted. And we had very difficult but necessary conversations about animals whose medical, behavioral, or emotional well-being could not be restored. Conversations about whether their 5 freedoms were truly being met. Those moments are never easy. They weigh heavily on our staff and volunteers, but they are rooted in compassion and in our responsibility to both the animals and the community. Next slide. As we move ahead, we are evaluating every policy, every program, and every procedure. Our goal is to be proactive, not reactive, to offer solutions, not just responses, to the pet overpopulation crisis we face. Next slide. A major part of this strategy will be expanding public access to spay and neuter services. Overpopulation is not an unsolvable mystery. We know exactly how to address it, and sterilization is the single most effective research-backed tool we have. Over the last several years, we have performed thousands of spay and neuter surgeries, both on shelter animals as well as the public, but we want to do more. By increasing low-cost and subsidized spay-neuter availability through our Cotton Memorial Veterinary Clinic, and hopefully through partnerships with others, we can prevent unwanted litters, reduce stray populations, ease the burden on families, and dramatically decrease intake pressure on the shelter. We're exploring ways to increase surgical capacity, reduce transportation and affordability barriers, and provide more community-based outreach and education about why spay-neuter is so critical, not just for controlling population, but also for improving pets' long-term health and behavior. We know staffing and visibility have also limited our efforts to place animals quickly, and we are assessing the structure of our organization to ensure we have the right roles and the right people to be as effective as possible. But at the heart of our proactive strategy is empowering the community with knowledge and access, because the reality is this: we cannot solve overpopulation inside the walls of the shelter. It must be solved out in the community, one family and one pet at a time. A key part of our future success will be making spay-neuter not just available, but accessible, affordable, and understood as a shared community responsibility. Next slide. Research shows that 62% of South Carolina households own pets. Much of Georgetown County is considered rural, and a recent survey found that in rural areas, pet ownership numbers are even higher. Additionally, 97% of pet owners consider their pets part of their family. Over half say that pets are as much a part of their family as any human family member. And the lower a family's income, the more likely they are to feel that deep bond. South Carolina pet owners are actually some of the best in the nation at prioritizing preventative care, but affordability remains a major barrier. More than half of pet parents nationally have not taken their pet to the vet this year, and over 70% cite cost as the reason. This is why our clinic, our pet food pantry, and our outreach programs are so vital. We are not just helping animals, we are helping families. Next slide. Reducing the number of animals entering our shelter is one of the most effective ways to improve outcomes, and the data gives us clear direction. Studies show that up to 95% of stray dogs stay within 2 miles of their home, and a study in Dallas showed 70% were found less than a mile from home. Indoor cats who get out typically remain within a third of a mile from home. Microchipped dogs had a 71% return to owner rate compared to 39% for unchipped. This year at St. Francis, our return to owner rate is just 10%. A low-cost microchip and tag program combined with equipping animal control officers with scanners could drastically reduce intake and reunite families faster. Next slide. We know the enormous impact pets have on their people. Owning a pet is linked to, among other things, better cardiovascular health, increased physical activity, reduced stress and anxiety, and lower rates of loneliness. With regard to children specifically, in addition to the benefits already mentioned, pets encourage responsibility, empathy, and resilience. They even help support anti-bullying initiatives by teaching compassion. Next slide. When we help keep pets in their homes, we're not just improving animal welfare, we're strengthening families, improving public health, and supporting our community. I want to take a moment to honor the staff and volunteers at St. Francis Animal Center. Their work is physically demanding, emotionally taxing, and mentally exhausting. They do not spend their days playing with puppies and kittens. They spend their days healing, comforting, cleaning, training, advocating, and caring, often for animals who have never known kindness before arriving at our shelter. And because of their deep love for animals, they are also the ones who must sometimes make heartbreaking decisions. Humane euthanasia is always the last option, and that decision is never made lightly. But when it is the right choice, those animals do not leave this world alone. They are held, loved, and comforted in their final moments, often receiving more compassion in those last minutes than they received in their entire lives. But the overwhelming majority of our animals do find loving homes, or they remain safely with their families because of the support we provide. This is the heart of our work. Next slide. Thank you again for the opportunity to share the work we do at St. Francis Animal Center. Our doors have been open for decades, and with support from the community, they will remain open for decades to come. Every volunteer hour, every bag of food donated, every shared post, every dollar contributed, every single action makes a difference. Next slide. St. Francis Animal Center may not always be the most visible rescue agency in Georgetown County, but we are the one consistently stepping in where the need is greatest. We are the backbone, quietly supporting rural and under-resourced areas, partnering with law enforcement, and caring for every animal who has nowhere else to go and who realistically no one else would take. Much of what we do happens out of the spotlight, yet its impact touches every corner of this county. We are deeply proud of our work. Our team shows up every day with compassion, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to the animals and people who depend on us. But even with that pride, we know we cannot do it alone. Our community partnerships, including the support of this council, are essential to sustaining and strengthening this safety net. We remain dedicated to continuously improving our services and planning responsibly for the future, not just because it is our mission, but because this community deserves a shelter that can meet its growing needs. When we work together, we can ensure that Georgetown County's most vulnerable animals and the families who care about them are never left without support. If you're moved by what we do, I invite you to get involved. The more support we have, the greater our impact will be. Together, we can create a community where fewer animals suffer, fewer families face the heartbreak of surrender, and more pets live happy, healthy, loved lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tyner. Are there any questions for Ms. Tyner?
Ms. Steiner, how many full-time staff do you have?
When we're fully staffed, I believe we are at about 18.
18, and that's 18 paid staff.
Yes.
How many volunteers do you have, and how many do you actually need?
We always need more. That's the easy answer. Right now, our volunteer program after COVID kind of took a hit, and so we're in the process of rebuilding that right now. So, and I've been here for 2 months. So if I am guessing, I would say regular volunteers right now, we probably have about 20.
20, and that's, some might work once a week or
Yeah,
couple times.
right. Some might come out for an event.
How would someone that wants to volunteer, how would they go about doing that?
We have a volunteer application on our website.
It is posted on your website.
Yes.
Out of your budget, and I know you've been here a short time, how much of your budget consists of donations versus other fundings, just donations from the general public?
I am going to make an educated guess here and say about 80% of our budget is donations.
Really? That high?
Yeah, caring for animals is not inexpensive.
With the current facility that you're in, and you're, if I remember correctly, you said you're at about 120% capacity?
Yes.
121%
Yes.
capacity? What time of the year does it fluctuate and increase?
The summertime is the worst.
Summertime is the worst. Okay. Is there anything you would like to say to, I'm coming from a dog and a cat family. I have a dog named Gizmo and a cat named Blue, and I hope my wife never has to make the choice to choose between Gizmo, Blue, or me. I think I would lose out. What's the one thing you would like to say to the community, since you have the microphone, that could help St. Francis Animal Center?
We really could use the support of the community, and that includes, like I talked about, being proactive, not just reactive. If you want to come and get your animal spayed or neutered, come and talk to us. We'll find out a way to make that happen. Microchip your pets, keep tags on them so that we can get them back to you quicker. Just reach out if you need help. That's what we're here for.
Maybe we could get our two local papers as well as Gab News to do an article on you, since you're new to the area and to the job, and get it out to the public that what's going on out there and the help that you need.
That would be great.
Welcome to Georgetown County.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Bishop Cooper.
first and foremost, I want to thank St. Francis Animal Center for being in existence for 39 years, first and foremost. I want to thank you for coming on to the last 2 months. And Mr. Newton, you covered a few things that I already wrote down, but I want to reinforce here. How can someone donate to the St. Francis Animal Center? Because you may have someone here, or those that are watching live, and we want to donate. So how can they go about doing that, please?
So you can donate through our website. We're also happy for you to mail, old-fashioned mail that check in. We are frequently in the community at events, and so we welcome you to stop by. We try to post those on social media regularly where we're going to be.
I noticed also you made mention that during the summertime it's a much higher rate of the animals. What about in terms of housing these animals? What are your season of housing the animal? Is it around the holidays you find yourself able to house animals during that time, or there's a certain period? Because I see the numbers here, for example, was 184.63, 184 for the dog, 63 for the cat, and now you have 135 of dogs and 58 of cats,
So typically, we have approximately 80 kennels for dogs. And so you can tell by those numbers, most of our dogs are sharing kennels. We work to pair animals that get along together, and we keep them in kennels together. That is not ideal, however. So we are still working on getting those numbers down by both transport as well as increasing adoptions and that kind of thing.
And one final question. During the holiday season, do you see this as an opportunity that we can house some of those, whether it's the dog or cat? Maybe there's some form of advertising to say, well, because of this season, there are more people having anxiety to have a pet during the holiday around that time. This is something I see.
Yeah, so, and I don't know about this community specifically, but where I was before, we saw a couple of things happen during the holidays. We did see an increase in adoptions, so that's always great. But we also saw an increase of people turning their pets into shelters because they didn't want to pay for boarding, and then coming back to try and adopt them back at the end. So hopefully that is not the case here, but we definitely, we've always got great animals for people to adopt, and the holidays is a great time when people are home to add a new family member.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
One other question. Ms. Tyner, when would be a good time that one of us could come by and tour the facility? Did not interrupt your routine, you know?
So afternoon is usually better because everybody's busy cleaning in the morning, but after, and we close from 12:30 to 1:30, so after 1:30 any day would be great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Turner, you mentioned the animal control officers having portable scanners. Do they all have scanners that they can read microchips with?
They don't, and that is something I spoke with one of the officers about a couple weeks ago, and we talked about just providing training to them and getting those scanners donated, and they seemed very receptive to that idea.
How much are those scanners, do you know?
Well, I think a couple $100. It depends on which one you get, and a lot of times some of the companies will donate them, so I'm hoping that they will be free.
Okay. Well, if there's anything we can do to help out, please let us know.
Okay, thank you.
How many scanners do you estimate we would need?
I do not know how many ACOs there are. I would guess between 5 and 10.
8?
I think there's 8 ACOs
Okay.
from the tour.
So we'd need at least 8.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Tyner. Anything else from council? Thank you for everything you do, Ms. Tyner.
Okay, thank you.
We move down to Proclamation 25-34, proclaiming November 17th through 21st as Oyster Shell Recycling Week in Georgetown County and recognizing the importance of returning oyster shells to our estuaries. We have a report from our PIO, Ms. Jackie Broach. Ms. Broach, you have the floor.
Good evening, members of council. Can you hear me? Okay, now I can hear myself, sorry. It is my pleasure to present Proclamation 2534, recognizing this week as Oyster Shell Recycling Week in Georgetown County. This proclamation highlights the importance of oysters to the health of our estuaries, places like Winyah Bay, North Inlet, Pawleys Island, and Murrells Inlet. Oysters are a keystone species, and their reefs are essential to water quality, habitat, and the overall well-being of our coastal environment. Unfortunately, oyster populations have dropped to just a fraction of what they were historically. This is due to over-harvesting, pollution, and habitat loss. One of the most effective ways we can help restore them is by returning used oyster shells to the estuary so young oysters have a place to attach and grow. The state faces a critical shortage of oyster shell, and the State Department of Natural Resources statewide recycling program, which does have a drop-off site here in Georgetown County, is vital to rebuilding these reefs for future generations. This proclamation, and I will not read it word for word, but it encourages residents and businesses to recycle oyster shells and supports the conservation work that helps keep our coastal ecosystem healthy. I believe that Miss Becky Ryan is here, and she would like to have a photo taken with the proclamation. If I could ask Mr. Chairman to please step forward and accommodate us.
Absolutely. You've heard the report from Miss Jackie Broach proclaiming on Ordinance 2534, proclaiming November 17th through 21st as Oyster Shell Recycling Week in Georgetown County, and recognize the importance of returning oyster shells to our estuaries. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Counselor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Cooper. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Proclamation carries. Ready?
Is Miss Ryan here?
Yes.
If you would step up on the stage for me.
Thank you, Ms. Broach. Next, we have our Employee of the Quarter. We have a report from Director Ellis, our Director of Emergency Operations. Director Ellis, you have the floor.
Good evening, Chairman Elliott, members of council. As you mentioned, I'm here for the Employee of the Quarter presentation for third quarter 2025. I'm honored to recognize Master Firefighter Paramedic Henry Hewlett from Midway Fire Rescue as our Employee of the Quarter this quarter. As a member of Midway Fire Rescue for more than 20 years, Henry has displayed the characteristics of a true public servant day in and day out. When he's in the field, Henry is one of the best paramedics you'll ever encounter, and I promise if you need emergency medical care, you want him there. That didn't rhyme on purpose, but he's truly stellar in his field. He was recently recognized as being a part of a cardiac arrest save where the patient was unresponsive, without a pulse, and not breathing upon arrival. After Henry did his magic in the back of the ambulance, the patient was actually conscious at the hospital and able to thank him for his emergency care, which is remarkable. But his dedication goes beyond that, that service in the field. He is also a valued member of our instructor cadre for our firefighter and EMT recruit schools. And Henry most recently took the bull by the horns and was the lead instructor for our last EMT class that we held, guiding these prospective students through the rigorous months and months of EMT training. In the end, under Henry's leadership, this class finished with a 100% pass rate, which is phenomenal considering the national average is 65% pass rate on first go. So this, for this reason and many, many more reasons, that if we told every Henry story that we have, we would be here well into the late night hours. He is our Employee of the Quarter, and I present him to you as the 2025 third quarter Employee of the Quarter for Georgetown County. Henry's here, Fire Chief Britt McClellan's here, so we'd like to join you, Chairman, on stage for a photo if possible, please.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
I know. When they take the picture before he walks off the stage.
I think one of these days, we're gonna have Brent's mustache as the outstanding firefighter of the year. Thing is getting out there, man, I'm telling you. It's gotta be the December calendar right there. All right, we move down to our public comments. We have a public comment period included in each meeting agenda and shall be limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. No speaker may yield his or her allotted time to another speaker. A timer is provided on screen, and at the end of your time, please wrap up your comments promptly. While speaking, please make sure to address council only and refrain from making personal attacks. Council will not respond to any questions during this period. While a speaker has the floor, the public will respect the speaker and allow them their time to address council. Members of the public who wish to address council during the public input period should sign up with the clerk to council before the meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers for tonight?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have 6 speakers tonight, and as you stated, each will have 3 minutes, and our first speaker is Mr. Dan Stacy.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of council. I'm here on behalf of Agenda Item 7A. I know Ms. Holly will go through it in great detail in her report, but Planning Commission hearing was held. It was approved by Planning Commission. I think there was one letter of question or concern, but other than that, the public did not seem to have much concern about this. This request is in compliance with the comp plan and the future land use map. And if you have questions after Holly presents and you need additional information from me, I will be here. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Robert Turner.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Council. I am also here on a rezoning, item 7B. And like Dan just said, Holly will do an excellent job telling you all about it. I'm available for any questions afterwards. Thank you.
Elizabeth Brackna.
Thank you. Tonight, as a citizen of Georgetown, I'm here to express my concern over the recent ICE presence in our county. Our Latino and Hispanic community members, our neighbors, our friends, are being targeted and thus have created an aura of fear which prevents them from feeling safe to go take their children to school, to go to their places of worship, or even to work. To me, this does not reflect the nature and character of the county that I live in and reside so proudly. I am here to understand, or try to understand, the level of cooperation. I'm aware through my research that South Carolina does participate in the Immigration and Nationality Act, of which Section 287G is a part of that. From that section, there are 3 categories, and my understanding is Georgetown County is under the warrant service officer category, which seems the parameters are that ICE will train local officers to be able to perform duties of warrants for suspected illegal immigrants that currently are incarcerated in our local detention. My hope is with those parameters, we will not I will not see any of the law enforcement that I so respect and count on to protect me to have to sit and watch any of the atrocities that I have seen in the nation. And that is my concern, and I hope that we have complete transparency and community input further on of any raids or any more presence that do occur. Thank you.
Sharon Melton.
Good evening. My concern is about the gun show that's being held at Howard. We have a daycare center across the street, adult vocational school right next door. This community has been plagued with gun violence, and it just seems really strange to bring a gun show into an area that has had a lot of gun violence. That makes no sense to me. This is a residential area. I hope that we could find someplace else for the gun show. I am a CWP licensed person. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I do not believe in having a gun show across the street, around the corner, in the heart of an area that has been riddled with gun violence. Thank you.
Lynn Hanson.
Good evening. Greetings to all members of County Council. Thank you for this opportunity to share our comments as citizens, neighbors, community members in Georgetown County. I'd like to echo the concerns of my friend and colleague Liz Brackna about the presence of ICE in Georgetown County. As I have watched the news and listened to the radio and heard my neighbors describe their fear and the sense of disruption because of the presence of ICE. Their very presence breeds uncertainty. Their very presence means there is danger that's not necessarily going to be controlled. As Liz pointed out, I have friends and neighbors who are afraid to go to church, to go to work, and to go to school. Fears like these that keep people from church, work, and school do not help our community. And they certainly don't reflect what we hope to be as Americans and citizens of this great country. Fortunately, we have the Constitution and the laws to protect us, and I would simply urge County Council to consider ways to maintain the peace of Georgetown County rather than allowing it to be disrupted by the presence of ICE. Thank you.
Miss Barbie Jones.
Hi, thank you so much for allowing us to speak. I too am concerned. I saw the ICE video that happened in Maryville. I was very concerned about it. It was heart-wrenching. I hate that it's happening in our county, and if my understanding is correct, our officers should only be helping at the detention center. That was my understanding. Anyway, if there's anything we can do to address this issue, I just would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That was our final speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you to everyone who spoke. We move down to our consent agenda. We have 4 matters on the consent agenda that were previously approved via the agenda approval process. Procurement number 25-102, a grapple truck for environmental services. Staff recommends award to the lowest bidder, AMIC Equipment, utilizing their North Carolina Sheriff's Cooperative Contract for a quantity of 1 2025 Peterbilt 567 chassis with a Peterson DL3 grapple loader for a total amount of $334,107.72, inclusive of sales tax. RFP 25-059, Health Medical Care Services for the Georgetown County Detention Center inmates. Staff recommends award to the highest ranked offerer, Genesis Health Alliance, at $1,243,425 annually. And an amendment to the stormwater plan review fees of the Georgetown County budget FY 2026 to correct a scrivener's error and correct fees shown incorrectly for an exempt item. No budget items or sums are being charged by this amendment. The amendment is being proposed to correct the scrivener's error identified in the stormwater plan review sections of the 26 budget. We move down to the second reading of ordinances. Ordinance 25-42 to rezone approximately 5.1 acres located on the northern side of Black Gum Road adjacent to Wisteria Plantation Drive in Litchfield. Area from forest agriculture to 10,000 square foot or residential or MR10. TMS number 04-0414-002-01-00. This is in Council District 6. Ms. Richardson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Oh, and I missed one. Thank you. One second. We also have revised Zilmet fee in lieu of tax, FILO agreement, and accompanying red line reflecting the correct millage rate and inclusion of the legal description. My apologies, everyone. Ms. Holly, you have the floor now.
Thank you. As you said, this parcel is located off Black Gum Road in Litchfield. It's currently zoned forest and agriculture. It consists of about 5 acres. There was an additional 0.1 acres that was conveyed by the Litchfield Company. This is basically a wooded lot in its natural state, and the property owner has requested MR10 zoning for the tract. The main ingress and egress for the site is via Black Gum Road. Black Gum is a county road. Any future encroachment would require permits from our Public Works Department. There is also frontage on Wisteria Plantation Drive, which is a private road. The proposed MR10 zoning allows for 1/4 acre or 10,000 square foot lots. The front yard setbacks are 25, 10 feet on the side, and 15 in the rear. There is water and sewer available to the site via Black Gum Road. And the surrounding tracts are zoned FA, MR10, or planned development, as you can see there on your zoning map. We don't consider this to be spot zoning because of the adjacent MR10 zoning. If you'll recall, we recently also did an MR10 zoning from a planned development in this area just last month. Our future land use map of the comp plan shows this property as residential mixed use or RMU, and most of the surrounding properties are also designated either RMU or RES. Both of those would support the medium density zoning that's being proposed here, so there's not a need to change the future land use map to facilitate this request. The property is not located in a special area flood zone, and the approved uses in the MR10 district are basically single family, including mobile homes and other accessory uses. And again, the density level here is 4 units per acre. Planning Commission held a public hearing on this back on October 16th. There was one person that spoke. Their main concern, as I understand it, was any access to Wisteria Plantation Drive. The applicant then responded that that was a private right-of-way that this property owner did not have access to, so it wouldn't be utilized. They would have to use their frontage on Black Gum for development of the tract. The Planning Commission recommended approval for the proposed rezoning with a vote of 5-0. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Are there any questions for Ms. Richardson? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor on ordinance 25-42 to rezone approximately 5.1 acres located on the northern side of Black Gum Road adjacent to Wisteria Plantation Drive in Litchfield area from forest to agriculture to MR10, TMS number 04-0414-002-01-00 in Council District 6. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Mercado. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Newton. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Move down to ordinance number 25-44 to rezone one parcel totaling 113.39 acres located on the southern side of the Georgetown County Highway 521, about 1 mile east of 9 Mile Curve in Georgetown County from general commercial or GC and 1/2 acre residential R1/2 AC to 6,000 square feet residential or R6 in conservation preservation CP. This is a TMS 01-0147-001-00-00. This is Council District 5. Ms. Richardson.
Yes, sir. I'll be, as usual, addressing 7B and 7C together as they involve this same 114-acre tract on 521. It is currently zoned, as you said, both general commercial in the front and R1/2 acre in the rear. It is also a mostly wooded tract currently. This tract has a little over 1,000 feet of road frontage on Highway 521, which is, of course is a state-owned road. There's also a potential ingress or egress from the adjacent Bluebird Street to the east of the property, which is a county-maintained gravel road. The proposed R6 district is a single-family district. The minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet. The setbacks are 25 in the front, 10 in the side, 15 in the rear. R6 is a district that we developed several years ago now as a way to allow for smaller family lots, but to restrict the uses to single family. 6,000 square feet is also the same size of our general residential zoning, but as you will recall, general residential also allows for multifamily. So R6 was created as a way to address the demand for smaller single-family lots. There is water and sewer availability from the Georgetown County Water and Sewer District down Highway 521 to serve the tract. The surrounding zoning is R1/2 acre to both the south and the east. There's GC zoning to the north, and there is also a tract of HI to the west of this one. The tract is large enough that spot zoning would not be an issue. However, there is no other high-density R6 zoning in the vicinity. There is an R10 or medium-density tract about 1.5 miles west on Highway 521. Our future land use map shows this tract as conservation and agriculture, or ConAg. You have the language there from the comp plan, but ConAg basically may include limited residential and related structures to support agricultural activities. The other comp plan or future land use map designations near this tract are commercial corridor to the east and the west, and residential. And then to the south, there is some more ConAg designated tracts. Since the ConAg designation does not support the proposed R6 zoning, we would need a change to the future land use map in order to support this request. That would apply to the approximately 75 acres and would need to be RMU, or residential mixed use. The remaining other about 39 acres that they are proposing to rezone to conservation preservation could of course remain ConAg as it's currently designated. Part of this tract is in a special flood area. It's in the AE10, so any future development there would need to comply with our flood ordinance and potentially be elevated. There's wetlands information included in your packet. There are about 39 acres of jurisdictional wetlands and 3 acres of non-jurisdictional on the tract. But again, there's about 75 acres of uplands developable property. As I said, the R6 zoning does allow for basically single-family dwellings and accessory uses. R6 does not include mobile homes, so mobile homes would not be allowed if this rezoning is approved. We did not receive input about this proposed rezoning from surrounding property owners, nor did anyone speak at the public hearing for or against the request besides the applicant. We don't have a specific design for the future layout for this tract. It's not required as part of a straight rezoning request. There is a potential conceptual plan that was included in your packet that shows about 185 lots. R1/2 acre to R6 is an upzoning that would increase the current density. Any future residential development would have to come back through the Planning Commission if there are more than 10 lots as a major subdivision review. Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 16th. Like I said, no one but the applicant was there to speak. The agent was asked about the cost of the units. He stated that the homes would be affordable and mentioned $250,000 as an average home price when asked about the potential cost of the units. The Planning Commission did recommend approval for the rezoning request. They also voted to recommend approval to amend the future land use map from ConAg to residential mixed use and ConAg for the rear, for the wetlands piece. I'll be glad to answer any questions on either of those items.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Was the planning commission vote unanimous or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you've heard a report from Ms. Richardson on ordinance 2544 to rezone one parcel totaling 113 acres. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Richardson? I apologize.
I've got a couple quick questions, Polly. The railroad tracks go next to it, correct?
Yes.
Is the developer or have they already worked out with the railway to put up any fencing?
Holly, I think there's a power line separating the railroad and the property, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I was gonna see if the conceptual plan showed that, but there is a power line right of way, but it is sort of down the middle of the track. There's a, plat in your packet, and it shows where that right of way is. I don't know if they have plans for fencing. I mean, that would probably be part of their subdivision submission request.
If it's okay, you'd like to speak.
Sure.
Come on up.
Robert Turner, I'm the applicant. There's a 150-foot wide power line easement in between the railroad tracks and our developable area. So that 150 feet wouldn't be developable. It's an easement.
Okay. Are you planning to put a fence? Or is there a requirement?
The plan right now is,
I'm just concerned it's gonna be a neighborhood.
well, so you got the railroad tracks and then you have a 150-foot easement, power line easement. The easement is only, it looks, I don't have a survey yet, but the easement only looks about 120 feet of it's cleared. So there's gonna be 15 feet of trees, looks on either side that I can't touch anyway. I was also planning, the way these lots are, they're 100, or I'm sorry, they're 60 by 120. So they're actually 7,200 square feet, but y'all don't have an R7 zoning, so R6 is, so the plan is along that stretch is to leave a bunch of trees, because one, the power line easement, nobody wants to back up to a power line easement, but nobody also wants to back up to a railroad, but fortunately they're parallel to each other, so.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Holly, on the entrance there on 521, with that many residents in the division, would off-ramp or on-ramp be required entering and exiting 521?
Potentially, if they do end up doing as many lots as that conceptual plan shows, they will have to submit a traffic impact analysis. And that will have to be reviewed by the planning commission. So at that time, those engineers would determine whether they need, the turn lanes that you're referencing. But it would seem likely based on those number of lots.
You want to add anything?
So just point of information, I've spoken to the DOT last week after the application about this project. So according to the people in Florence, let's see, a right turn in is going to be probable, a right turn out is possible, and a left turn in is, they want more information. So that's what we're looking at. So short answer is, yeah, there's going to be something out there. But exactly what it is going to depend on the numbers.
Thank you.
I've got one more question if you wanna, since you're. We have workforce housing in our comprehensive plan. Would you work with our planning department to work on a memorandum of understanding to make sure that we incorporate those numbers and those goals into this project?
Well, I don't really understand the question. So you're talking about for the workforce memorandum, it would depend on what's in that memorandum. I'm not familiar with what the Georgetown County.
Other developers have agreed to the numbers that are in there and the goals. It's something that you could look at. I'd like to at least have you look at it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Get educated on it and perhaps.
And just to correct, I never actually used the word affordable during the planning commission. That's I can't use that word anymore because I can use it as an adjective, but it's now a noun, so, you know.
I think it's in our comprehensive plan. It's one of our goals. So
Right.
it would be helpful if you could take a look at that with the planning department.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Like I said, as far as anything that's required by Georgetown County, this project's going to have to go back in front of the planning commission as a subdivision anyway. This is just a straight rezoning, but yeah, I don't have a problem with any of that. That'd be fine.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Holly, could you give him that information from the comprehensive plan?
Sure.
Thanks.
Are there any further questions for Ms. Richardson? Okay, you've heard a report on ordinance 25-44 to rezone one parcel totaling 113.39 acres located on the southern side of Georgetown Highway or Highway 521, about 1 mile east of 9 Mile Curve in Georgetown County from GC and 1/2 acre residential or R1/2 to 6,000 square foot residential or R6 and Conservation Preservation, CP, TMS number 01-0147-001-00-00 in Council District 5. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Charlton. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Ordinance passes. We go to ordinance 25-45, ordinance to amend the comprehensive plan future land use map to reflect the redesignation of tax map parcel 01-0417-001-00-00 located on the east southern side of Georgetown Highway or Highway 521, about 1 mile east of 9 Mile Curve in Georgetown County from the Conservation and Agricultural or ConAg to residential mixed use RMU and Conservation and Agricultural ConAg in Districts 5. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Charlton. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion passes. Ordinance 2545 passes. Move down to ordinance 25-46, amending that certain agreement for development of joint county industrial and business park by and between Georgetown County, South Carolina, and Horry County, South Carolina, dated as of June 13, 2006, to extend the not before termination date and to provide for other related matters, international paper redevelopment. We have a report from Ms. Kelly Robertson Slagle, our Economic Development Director. Ms. Slagle, you have the floor.
Great. Thank you, Chairman and members of council. Ordinance 25-46 before you tonight is a simple amendment to the multi-county industrial park agreement between Georgetown and Horry counties, originally executed on June 13th, 2006, June 13th, 2006. This amendment extends the not before termination date so the agreement remains active. Maintaining an active MCIP is critical as we advance redevelopment efforts at the former International Paper property. The MCIP structure provides eligibility for important state benefits, including the $1,000 South Carolina Job Tax Credit enhancement for qualified projects, as well as access to additional state-level incentive tools that require the MCIP designation. This amendment does not change any revenue sharing or financial terms. It only extends the agreement's timeframe. Georgetown County Economic Development recommends approval to support continued progress on the IP redevelopment efforts, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Slagle. Are there any questions for Ms. Slagle? Ms. Slagle, how far out does this extension go?
We went ahead and extended it an additional 30 years. And that will give us plenty of time to get through the different levels of remediation and redevelopment and other things and still be within that window to be able to provide, I would say a competitive level of incentives for whatever new project ultimately ends up going there.
Okay, so it's about 2055.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. You've heard the report from Ms. Slagle on ordinance 25-46, amending that certain agreement for development of joint county industrial and business park by and between Georgetown County, South Carolina, and Horry County, South Carolina, dated as of June 13th, 2006, to extend the not before termination date and to provide for other related matters. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Ordinance passes. Move down to ordinance 2547, authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes and special source revenue credit agreement by and between Georgetown County, South Carolina, and SR Georgetown LLC as sponsor and Silicon Ranch Corporation as sponsor affiliated to provide for payment and fee of lieu of taxes with respect to a project, authorizing special source revenue credits and other related matters. Ms. Slagle, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman Elliott, and members of council. This agenda item before you authorizes the execution of a fee in lieu of taxes and special source revenue credit with SR Georgetown LLC and Silicon Ranch Corporation for their expansion project known as Project SR2. Silicon Ranch is investing up to $55 million, an additional 50 megawatt solar and battery storage facility in the Lambertown area. This expansion builds on an existing project which began under a 2022 FILO agreement. As part of this amendment, the county negotiated a doubling of the per megawatt FILO rate from $1,800 to $3,600 per megawatt. This increases the county's annual revenue over the next 30 years from $2.7 million to $5.4 million in total payments to Georgetown County. This equals or equates to 36 times what the land would have produced if it had remained in general agricultural taxation. The agenda item also authorizes special source revenue credits, which are performance-based and funded from the project's own fee payments. This credit helps maintain the negotiated $3,600 per megawatt annual payment. The project creates long-term fiscal benefits with minimal impacts on county services, and it remains within the Santee Electric Cooperative Service territory. The existing phases have already achieved grid synchronization and remain on track for commercial operation later this year. A few key timing points. No FILO is due during construction. Once the project is placed in service and it reaches its commencement date, which at this current time is expected to be December 31st, 2026, the first FILO bill will be issued for that tax year and continued annually for the next 30-year term. The agreement also includes a backstop. If the project does not reach service by December 31st, 2028, the FILO term is deemed to begin automatically, ensuring that the county is not left with an open-ended timeline. Staff recommends approval of the FILO and SSRC agreement to secure this additional expansion and its associated revenue. I did want to mention that we do have Connor Eccles from Silicon Ranch in the audience, but I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Slagle. Are there any questions for Ms. Slagle?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The first question I have, what district is this part of it? This District 3, District 5?
This would be your district, Bishop Cooper?
I just wanted clarity on that because I do have representation
Yes.
by my district and it wasn't mentioned, so that's why I wanted to have clarity.
Yes.
Those that are representing and are part of the district. Okay. And my other question, you made mention of the backstop, the potential that where we won't actually have a loss or some form of backstop. Can you reinforce and intensify that?
Sure, that was important. I understand that Silicon Ranch, they had some delays early on in their construction project. That team has worked extremely hard to get that project back on time, on schedule. I also know that they've been providing regular reporting to council about their progress on this particular project. As a part of their transparency and their commitment to the community and some of those early concerns. The backstop was included in this, so that way, understanding the importance of these timelines, that we're not waiting for the project construction to be complete for the FILO. So if there's any other delays that may happen, which we do not anticipate that, I want to strongly say that we don't anticipate it. They're doing a very good job, meeting and getting things, actually working pretty smoothly. But if anything does come up, this backstop has been added to allow for those FILO payments to automatically kick in at the end of December 2028. So we're not kind of hanging out there.
So in actuality, the resolution ordinance number 25-47, it identifies and approves the eligible project for the company involved.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of what your question was there.
So my question is, this particular ordinance, actually it identifies and it approves the eligible the projects that's being involved?
Yes.
Okay.
This would be for phase 2.
Okay.
Their second expansion.
And one of the reasons I'm asking the question, because I came in phase 2. Phase 1, I wasn't here. And so with my constituent, I want to make sure that they have the clarity and I want to represent them well. So that's why I'm asking these questions that I am. Because phase one actually began in 2022, is that correct?
That is correct.
And even though it's written here, I like to ask this question because of what it does to reinforce, intensify, reinforce for those that may have questions in the back of their mind. And so that's why I wanted to.
Yeah, if I may, Bishop Cooper, I too was not here during phase one like you, but I did go back and had conversations and read some of the history of this project and where those community concerns were. And that really has been at the forefront of negotiating this phase two, is to directly address those concerns that came out in the community conversations and public comment and other things. So I feel really strongly that we've come to a solid agreement with phase two and put some of those protections in, the continuation of the monthly reports from the team, the ongoing partnership that they have with emergency management, with training, and those things that were really, that came out as a part of phase one, we're really on top of for phase two. So there should be, minimal impacts. We're really wanting this to wrap up as a successful project for the county.
One final question I have for you. How many jobs will it open approximately in?
You know what? I'm going to Connor. I'm gonna let Connor address that.
Good evening, Councilman Cooper. We expect this to create approximately 1 to 200 temporary construction jobs and another 1 to 2 permanent jobs.
Okay, so 1 to 200 temporary jobs and also 1 to 200 permanent jobs for the most part until the task has been completed, correct?
That's correct. Yes, 1 to 2 permanent.
One to two permanent jobs.
1 to 2 permanent jobs, and temporary jobs is 100 to 200
Okay.
craft labor jobs.
Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for the clarity.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's pretty much what I have at this time. Thank you so much.
Ms. Slagle, you mentioned in your opening comments, battery backup.
The battery storage.
There is no battery storage with any of our projects, sir.
That's what we thought, but you mentioned it in your comments. I was wondering where that come from.
Yeah, it scared us there for a second.
Yeah.
No, we do not have any plans to do a battery projects.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes.
Any brother? All right, you've heard a report from Ms. Slagle, authorizing the on Ordinance 25-47, authorizing the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes and special source revenue credit agreement by and between Silicon Ranch or Georgetown County, South Carolina, and SR Georgetown LLC as sponsor and Silicon Ranch Corporation as sponsor affiliate to provide for payment and fee of lieu of taxes with respect to a project, authorizing special source revenue credits and other related matters. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
To approve or? Are you making a motion to approve? Councilor Cooper?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion to approve by Councilor Cooper. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion passes 5-1. Move down to the approval of minutes. Our regular council meeting minutes for October 28th. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Mercado. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Morant. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Minutes are approved. We now will move down to our legal briefing and executive session. We will now enter to an executive session to receive legal counsel pertaining to potential litigation pursuant to SC Code annotated Section 30-4-70A2 in accordance with the procedures of Section 30-4-70B, with the understanding that upon returning to open session, the council may take a vote on matters discussed. Is there a motion on the floor to enter into executive session?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Cooper. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? We are now in executive session. All right. We're now back from executive session. Please note that no actions or votes were taken during the executive session. Is there a motion to return to open session?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Mercado. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Cooper. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. Congratulations, we're back in open session. So, is there any further business to come before council at this time?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Councilor Charlton.
I move to approve the continued cell tower lease with SBA Monarch Steel LLC. Final terms be negotiated by the county administrator, county attorney, and to authorize the county administrator, county attorney, and other staff as may be necessary to take all necessary actions to negotiate and execute a lease agreement upon these acceptable terms.
You've heard the motion from Councilor Charlton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion passes. Is there any further business to come before council at this time? Hearing none, the chair will hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Mercado. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Cooper. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? Congratulations. You're adjourned.